Hello, and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have back as our guest today Turkish journalist and commentator Şevket Erbay. Hello, Şevket. Lovely to see you, and a big thank you for joining us.
Lovely to see you too, Anna. Spending 1 month in Paris, joining you today from Eurosport Istanbul office, which I worked as commentator maybe more than 20 years. Hello to everybody from Istanbul.
Show us your Paris t shirt.
Yeah, here is the official Paris
Yay!
t-shirt because I don't have lots of t-shirts I used there. That's why I wearing this one. I'm still waiting to back to my home in Antalya.
Of course. Great. Thank you. So, like last week, this show is entirely dedicated to the Olympic Games, which recently concluded in Paris. And what a wonderful edition it was. So, today we'll focus on the second part, uh, 7 to 11 August, but also review the entire competition. Let's start with a quick statistical recap. After the world records in the mixed 4x400 relay and Moldo Duplantis in the pole vault, which we saw in the last program, there was a third world record by the amazing Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, who lowered her own mark to a stunning 50.37. Now, that's already a very respectable mark on the 400-meter flat. And she did it all alone, as the expected challenge from Femke Bol did not really materialize, with the Dutch star finishing third in 52.15, behind Sydney's teammate Anna Cockrell with 51.87. Overall, there were 13 Olympic records, 2 Olympic decathlon best performances, 21 area records, and 99 national records. More countries than ever before, 27, won gold medals in athletics. Of course, we already saw St. Lucia and Dominica, but also Pakistan won their first ever medal in athletics, and they went straight to gold, while Botswana earned their first ever gold. They had other medals. Spectator figures were also the highest ever, making the Paris Olympic Games a total success. So, Şevket, what were your favorite athletics moments of the Olympic Games?
I guess the first one carved the name in history like a Paris monument. It's coming from, of course, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. You mentioned one of the greatest of all time. I mean, Sydney very selective during this season, as you know, attended very few races. Like previous seasons, she did also same pattern this year, just opposite from her rival Femke. The opposite, Femke did every single race, maybe 20 plus races during the season. Sydney just 4 or 5. She was, she was very much focused on her premium event, Sydney 400 hurdles, and she completed her main job perfectly in the Stade de France. Femke came with her around, I think, 7th hurdle before she collapsed in the final stretch. Sydney clocked 50.37 with a cracky last 50 meters. We witnessed. It was greatest ever running performance of all time according to World Athletics points list. I checked after the race, surpassing Flojo's 100 meters record. This is the all-time greatest track performance ever by a woman. 1,324 points, just ahead of Yaroslava Mauchik's 210. That's absolutely my first choice, Anna. Sydney McLaughlin's amazing run. Another one coming from let's say Tobago. Actually, I noticed him when I first time I noticed him in World Under 20 Championships 3 years ago in Nairobi. They secured, the Letsile secured very much deserved gold in 200 meters in Paris. Actually, Noah Lyles was my favorite to win before the race, even closer the world record. I expect he closed the world record, but he gets sick before the race, which we all learned after the race by team officials declaring the condition. I feel something goes wrong with Noah just starting the race because I saw the exaggerated reaction from him just before the start. That's I feel something goes wrong. But of course, I couldn't predict he was COVID. That's why probably he do it as a mind game. So I didn't work for taking gold. It didn't work for taking gold because Letsile clocked 1946, an African record. Even Noah bronze also was phenomenal in such a physical conditions. Probably all accept because he ran as a sick person. Letsile Tebogo's African record is one of my picks from the Paris as a overhuman performances. And I checked my list. Another performance coming from Canadians in 4x1. Canadians did a good job to take first team gold, relay gold, I mean, since Atlanta 96. They were contesting very same quartet by years, maybe 8 years. The all same guys running in the relay team, and finally they got the gold in the race where US disqualified once again. No surprise. And Andre de Grasse, the masterful sprinter, led the team to the glory. We mentioned him first. He must be counted very elite level, in my opinion, since years. In last 8 years, probably, Anna, last 8 or 9 years, he was around best of the best, isn't it? That's really phenomenal. Also, we can mention the South Africa was brilliant with the African record in 4x1 final. They took silver and GB was third. That race also carved in my mind during the games. And another relay race, what we saw in Stade de France, end of the second day, I couldn't believe it. Maybe all the world was astonished by an incredible woman, Femke. She took baton in fourth, I guess, and did 42nd lap and claimed the gold for Netherlands by stunned world record holder US team and another two team she passed. It was really symbolic moment for the games by summarizing recent rivalry between her and the Americans. In that moment, I remembered exactly 1 year ago in Budapest, she tumbled in the final meters and dropped the baton, as you remembered very well. Then she erased the bad memories on her mind and established a new relay myth in the athletics world. That's quite phenomenal.
Absolutely. And they came within 200s of the world record. The Dutch team, they were very, very close because the US had set it in the heats. And then the Dutch team, they came within 200. So
exactly. Just missed another world record in the final.
Yes.
And the breaking European record, of course.
Yeah.
And I selected also Ray Benjamin on my list, athletics list. Ray Benjamin, a workaholic American, finally takes the biggest global title after tireless years. He was looking so solid, starting from the heats and semifinals and finals. He was so solid, and he finalized his job in the final, defeating world record holder Karsten Warholm, clearly, clocking very respectable 46.46, which would be an Olympic record if crazy last edition in Tokyo didn't exist. And once more, we saw three champions, Ray, Karsten, and Alison, were running out of this world. We proved that once more. Even fourth placed Frenchman Ducos done great job, but still far behind of this amazing trio, Anna.
And that was crazy. Maybe it wasn't quite up to, the crazy expectations we had after the Tokyo race, but it was an excellent final. And as you mentioned, Ducros in fourth place. Wow. Congratulations. A great performance by the Frenchman.
Yeah. Maybe he can join in the upcoming years to this great trio. And Dominican Marilady Paulino was one of the other who impressed me so much. She was perfect shape in Hull competition, during the Hull competition. Clocked 49.42 in heats. Heats 49 by 4. Then 49.21 in semis and 48.17 Olympic record in the final. Just awesome. Even hits the halfway mark in the final. She was 0.3 ahead of Salva Et Nasser and break area record in the finish line in a huge respectful performance from Marilady Paulino. Behind Marilady, all 7 other finalists have broken 50 seconds barrier, which happened first time in history also. And the Kenyan superstar Faith Kipyegon proved she's undisputed number 1 in metric mile. After losing 5,000 meters to her compatriot Chebet, she focused her main event in the very next day and secured 3rd consecutive gold, which never happened before the Olympic history. Kipyegon took the lead just before from the bell and kicked 59.6 last lap to claim gold. The mark was astonishing, where she broke own Olympic record from Tokyo with 3:51.29. Also, Oceanian record holder Jess Hall from Australia, which I love so much, the country, won silver. I really like Jess pushing limit against the fate. And finally, of course, we need to talk about superstar Sifan Hassan. If we don't mention Sifan here, the gods of athletics punish us probably. Actually, I did not believe she was able to finish all 3 hard events she registered, but she denied me as she did every time. Was not only able to finish, secured medals each races. From back the final day, we can see easily her main focus was marathon. Actually, we are back in the from the last day, because she really carefully contested in both 5K and 10K in the rear, in the back. After cleverly competing the jogging in the laps, both races, he had no speed races like Sifan prefers. She just made a quick kick and takes the medal. That's it. No push limit so much. And a fully rest day, one day, she fully focused on marathon. Again, she did not make the brave things during the race. Just stay with the lead pack. Then used her speed in the final kilometer. Then her confidence, of course, was amazing in the final part of the race. Beat Tigist Assefa, the world record holder, the marathon record holder. And Tigist also quite good 800-meter runner.
Yeah.
But in the past, in the 3 or 4 years back, the Ethiopian Assefa did not match with the Sifan's unstoppable run during the final meters. Crazy athlete.
No, Sifan is indeed an amazing athlete. And I just love what she herself calls her craziness, this need to continually set herself new challenges which look impossible, but then she does it. And I really love her honesty as well. So after the marathon, she declared, "When I started this morning, every single moment, I was regretting that I ran the 5,000 and 10,000. I was telling myself, if I hadn't done that, I would feel comfortable today. From the beginning until the end, I felt every step so hard and I regretted it. What is wrong with me?"
Yeah.
She's fantastic. Mm-mm. And I also admire her clear enthusiasm and love for the sport. I mean, when the most famous athlete on an Olympic podium is the one taking the selfie, as Hassan did after claiming 10,000-meter bronze behind Beatrice Chebet and a stunning Nadia Battocleti, that says a lot about the spirit of the amazing Sifan Hassan.
Yeah, I was in the press conference also with this trio, with Nadia and Betis Chebet. They also very respectful to Sifan. Betis Chebet said she's one of the biggest idols of me. The Olympic champion said the
Yes.
nearby Sifan Hassan about Sifan Hassan.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have another race which I need to select from my list. That's 800 meters man. I said to my colleagues about one of the world record expectations of me from the whole program is a 800 meters. I said before the games. That's exactly what I'm waiting for. It was absolutely best race we have ever seen since David Rudisha's London masterpiece, Anna.
Yeah.
All the guys marked superb times. And Emmanuel Vagnoni clocked 1:41:19, all-time third fastest, and just 3.3 far from Rudisha's amazing world record. Kudos to Marco Arop also. He was absolute reason to race, has gone so well, Marco Arop. And Jamal Sejati, my favorite to win
Yes.
in the event, but did not execute the race well, I guess. Came very late for the lead. He was sixth, around 200 to go, maybe a little bit less. Did not place himself to good kick. But still, he found a way to climb podium, and he got third place though.
Definitely. And I think Wanyonyi showed that he had more experience this year because in Budapest, of course, Marco Arop beat him to gold. But here he was really great. Went ahead in the last 200 meters. Arop was faster, was catching up with him, and only took a silver by 100th of a second. But Emmanuel Wanyonyi showed that at 20, he's not only a super talented athlete, but he also knows how to strategize to win a race.
Yeah. What's your top picks?
My top picks, three favorite moments and two personal favorites. And one of my top picks is the same as yours, is the 200-meter men, because that was just
Tebogo.
unbelievable. With Letsile Tebogo, but also with two athletes from Zimbabwe in the final, which was really exciting. And it was a race of many firsts, with Botswana, as we saw, taking their first Olympic gold in any sport, and Tebogo becoming the first African to ever win the 200 meters. But I think it's the story behind the medal which made it very, very special. Letsile had a great start to 2024, clocking a world best of 30.69 over 300 meters in February. Then in March, he ran 44.29 over the 400, and in April, 19.71 on the 200. And both were early world leads. Then his results slowed somewhat. And after the Diamond League meeting in Monaco, where he clocked an excellent 19.87, visibly taking his foot off the accelerator in the last part of the race, I was really surprised to hear Letsile say that he needed to get the confidence back into the body. So it turned out that the lack of confidence, came from events outside the track, as Letsile had lost his mother in May after a short illness. So after his victory in Paris, Tebogo showed the camera his spikes with the initials of his mother, Seratiwa, and her date of birth, declaring, "It's basically me carrying her through every stride that I take inside the field. It gives me a lot of motivation. She's watching up there and she's really, really happy." And I also think the reactions of the other athletes to Sebogo's gold speak volumes. It was not only fellow sprinters like the king Usain Bolt and current stars Akani Simbine, Marcel Jacobs, Marie-Josée Talou, but also middle and long distance runners like Beatrice Chebet and Abdi Nageye, who took to social media to express their great respect for Letsile Tebogo. So I really think that was one of the most beautiful moments of the games.
Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah. My number 2 has to be the men's javelin. Arshad Nadeem of Pakistan took gold ahead of India's Tokyo champion Neeraj Chopra, and Grenada's Anderson Peters back at the top with bronze. No European on the podium for the first time ever. And also Julius Yego back in 5th place with his furthest throw in 5 years. And Arshad's triumph could not have come without the support from relatives and villagers in his hometown of Mianchanu. His father, Mohammed Arshad, revealed, "People have no idea how Arshad got to this place today, how his fellow villagers and relatives used to donate money so that he could travel to other cities for his training and events in the early days." But support also came from Tokyo Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra. When Nadeem appealed on social media earlier this year for a new javelin for training, Chopra supported his cause. And that's a great example of sportsmanship between two athletes who represent countries with a tense history. Now, my third has to be Nafi Thiam, crowned in the heptathlon for the third time. And she was the first before Kipyegon to equal the record set by Anita Włodarczyk in the hammer. And it's especially amazing that she did it this year, overcoming injuries, and once again was an Olympic medal. But you remember, Şevket, how she decided to come to the Euro Indoors in Istanbul at the last moment and proceeded to break the world indoor record.
Exactly. She explained, "I'm coming to Istanbul just 5 days ago during the champs, and she got the world pentathlon record in Ataköy. Then here is, I closely watched the race, heptathlon, one of my favorite events. Nafi is probably greatest of all time with the Jackie Joyner Kersey, Karolina Klüft, and other greats. Surely he will be there. And Nafi also, not only the women's side, but on the men's side, first time ever multi-eventer, got 3 golds, 3 back-to-back golds in whole Olympic history, including men's.
Yes, exactly. Now, she's a totally amazing athlete. I have a huge respect for Nafi Thiam. Now, then I have 2 personal favorites. And among the men, it's Akani Simbine, who, after coming 4th in the 100 meters, finally got his Olympic medal at age 31 with a silver in the 4x100 relay, anchoring a team including 2 under-20 athletes, Walaza and Nkoana, as well as 23-year-old Maswangani. And Akani has been extremely consistent over the years. 4th place says at the Olympics in 2021 and 2024, as well as 5th in 2016, and similar showings at the World Championships, where he was fifth in 2017, fourth in 2019, and fifth again in 22. So to see him anchor his young compatriots to silver with a leg run in 8:78, the fastest, along with Zarnell Hughes, had a feeling to me of justice at last. And finally, among the women, I was totally impressed by my compatriot Nadia Battocletti, who first in the 5,000-meter race moved from 8th place to 4th in the last 2 laps, and then went on to take a stunning silver medal in the 10,000 meters, even though she had injured her tendon in the warm-up and was limping after the race. So the double European titles in Rome 2 months earlier had certainly increased her confidence. But as Nadia said after in Paris, without the 4th place in the 5,000, she would never have thought that it was possible to win a medal over 10,000. So there was lots of Olympic glory for new countries, as we saw after St. Lucia and Dominica, which is now the smallest nation ever to have won an Olympic medal. 2 other countries won their first gold in athletics in the second half of the Games, as we saw Letsile Tebogo on the 200 and Arshad Nadim of Pakistan in the javelin. So Şevket, on the whole, fantastic performances by Asian, African, and Caribbean athletes in Paris.
Yeah, absolutely. Haruka Kitaguchi, for example, from Japan, became first Japanese champion outside of running events to continue to grip in her javelin events in recent years. As you know, the world bronze medal, world gold medal, and now Olympic champion. We all know Japanese women's in the long distance and marathons mainly, but she changed it. As you said, Arshad also made a historic thing for Pakistan and Asian athletics, put Pakistan on the athletics map right now. I just checked the Asian athletes' numbers. They have 10 medals in Paris, a good number for the relatively low continent. It's 10 medals in total. But Africans and Caribbeans were so good also, except traditional powers, Ethiopia and Morocco. Even Sufyan wins the gold. Ethiopia and Morocco not so good during the games, but the African teams were generally produced historic results. Botswana, one of them, took their first Olympic title, and have much respected silver in relay, 4x4. And Zambia took a medal since 28 years. After Samuel Matete, I remember him very well from Atlanta. Uganda was there also. Joshua Cheptegei takes the gold. Algeria takes a bronze. We saw more finals penetration from the African countries. For example, 200 meters men's final featured 4 African for the first time ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the Caribbean side, we can mention to the champions, Thea Lafont and Julian Alfred. Both brought first Olympic gold to their small nations, Dominica and St. Lucia. Dominican Republic, Grenada, Puerto Rico, and of course Jamaica were in the podium from the Caribbean region. Only exception was Cuba. But remember, all 3 men in the triple jump podium were ex-Cubans, actually. Now competing for European countries, including Spain, Italy, and Portugal. But the mainland Cuba did not get a good championships here.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think among the small nations, Grenada deserves applause because they got 2 bronze medals with Anderson Peters, and also with with Lyndon Victor in the decathlon. So very good showing for a small nation. And of course, Kirani James had run a fantastic, he was twice under 44 in the 400 meters. In the final, he was fifth, but I was really delighted because he's one of my very favorite athletes. So that was really good.
That's same for me. I love Kiran James so much. He got fourth consecutive Olympic final here. Even Michael Johnson didn't get this type of result, but he didn't get a fourth consecutive medal, unfortunately, because very fast final in the 400.
Yes. Now, Şevket, another trend in Paris was the excellent results by U.S. middle and long distance athletes.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Grant Fisher was so ready to make a breakthrough here after we saw in recent results, but honestly, never heard the names such as Cole Hooker or Kenneth Rooks, the steeplechase medalist. Even Yared Nugus was a surprise medalist for me because who is relatively known athlete compared with the other two. But I did not expect he can make the podium, the very hard 1500 meter lineup, but he did it.
Yeah, exactly. I think Kenneth Rooks is possibly the biggest surprise because Cole Hawker, US outlets, especially Let'sRun.com, they'd been talking about him as the next big thing for years, but it hadn't quite materialized. But Kenneth Rooks is like, oh, and who is this guy?
Yeah.
That was my reaction, I have to admit. So we've been talking about our special moments from the Paris Olympics. Let's hear a very special athlete, double Olympic champion Haile Gebrselassie, tell us about his favorite Olympic moment.
My best moment in Olympics, of course, is Sydney 2000. The race I won 10,000 meters, especially between me and Porterga, was amazing. And, that is my best moment. Well, in general, the best Olympics I've been, of course, Sydney. Still, when I think about Sydney is the best Olympic Games. And wow, that's fantastic.
And what about Paris? Have you watched a little bit of what's been happening here? And what did you enjoy here in Paris?
Well, Paris in general is very good. In sport, in the competition, in the audience, very good. Many spectators in the stadium, it's the best and very competitive. All the rest, all the athletes, they perform very well. And of course, expectation is too much here in Paris because this is the third time, to organize Olympic. Of course, Paris is always wonderful.
Thank you, Haile. And that photo finish ending with Paul Tergat in Sydney was indeed epic.
Exactly.
So upsets. We had spoken last week about several upsets, including Jakob Ingebrigtsen not even making the podium in his favorite race, though he did bounce back the second week to win 5,000 meters gold. But to me, Arshad Nadim's javelin throw gold with the Olympic record is probably the upset of the games. Though Roger Stona taking gold in the discus, also in an Olympic record, is a strong contender for that title. Now, Şevket, what was the biggest Paris upset for you?
I agree with you. Discus throw champion Roger Stona was the biggest upset at the games, in my opinion. Previously, he was only NACAC under 23 and Carifta winner. That's all. Now turned an Olympic champion as a discus thrower in Jamaica, beating world record holder Nicolas Alekna by just 3 centimeters. That was a historic, noble surprise at the games. Yet another surprise.
Just one thing about Stona. Jamaica actually had 3 finalists in the discus, which in itself was pretty amazing. The other
Yeah,
2 didn't make the final 8, but that also shows how the throws are becoming a big thing. It's been growing for several years, but now we have to count in the Caribbean not only in sprints but also in the throws.
yeah, exactly. It's going to another place because
Yeah.
you know Jamaica is also had a bronze or silver medal in shot put, men's bronze, I think.
Rajendra
There,
Campbell,
there,
yes.
there is 2 discus, 2 throwing medals, and nothing in sprints. Almost. that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting
Crazy.
change. Uh, Yet another surprise for me was Marcus Ruud,
Yes.
who broke Norwegian decathlon records by 78, 96 points. Again, he was just under European under 23 level champion last year. That's all. But Ruud became a champion despite no first place in any discipline during the decathlon race. But he was very solid from start to the end. That's the another surprising result in men's side. Nadia Batokletti seems a sweet surprise for somebody, but not for me, Anna, because I followed her since she took Euro under 20 gold several 5 years ago, maybe. Did We saw her potential also in Roma, in Rome
Yeah,
European
absolutely.
Championships this year. She got double gold. I was expected some achievement from her, but she went beyond my expectations. Also got the silver and the Italian record. She's a really nice looking and nice talking lady for athletics. I really like it. The Nadia's behaviors and
Yeah.
the titles. And one of the shocking results in the games, I mean, Gudaf Segay, probably she was the biggest shock at the
Yes.
games. She was terrible in the finals and did not make a podium in 3 races she contested as a world record holder. Finished 12th in 15,000, 1500, 9th in 5,000, and 6th in 10,000, which event she holds current world title. That's really embarrassing moments for Ethiopian team.
And it will also highlight the critics because when when the team was announced and she was in 3 races and some very good athletes had been excluded, people were
Yeah,
asking why is this fair? And if she had won medals, it could have been different. But being entered in 3 races and coming home without a single medal is definitely not good for Gudaf, and it's not good for Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So let's look now at some cool Olympic moments. Of course, the Olympics are about sport, about surpassing yourself and achieving the best possible result. But sport is also about respect and fair play. And there were great sporting moments in Paris at the end of competitions. Let's check out a few. So Miltiadis Tedoglu and Mattia Furlani. They really have a great relationship. And the Greek superstar once again showed his sportsmanship and his appreciation of his young rival. Mattia revealed after the final that Miltiadis had told him that 8:34 was the longest ever jump for a bronze medal. Then I must mention Fred Curley and Marcel Jacobs, who had traded barbs on social media in 2022, but the respect was always there, and it was demonstrated once again in their hug after the 100-meter final. Now, what to say about Gianmarco Tamberi and Mutaz Barshim? They had enthralled the world with their shared gold in Tokyo, and after comebacks from very similar injuries, which could have put an end to their careers. Paris did not have the same glory in store, but their friendship was again on show. In the days before the games, Tamberi was hospitalized with a renal colic. He still managed to be cleared to travel to Paris, but was clearly not at his best, qualifying with a lowly 2 meters 24. In the other group, Mutaz managed 2:27, but then he lay on the ground in pain, holding his calf, and Jimbo rushed to his side. In turn, Mutaz tried to use his best to console his friend. And once again, they were there for each other in the tough times, as they had been after their career-threatening injuries. Tamberi was then hospitalized again the night before the final with another colic, and he was vomiting blood, so he could only clear 2:22 in the final, while his friend Mutaz showed once again what a champion he is, rising to the occasion when it matters most and taking bronze with 2 meters 34. And finally, there was a very special aspect, which was the Olympic passion. I mean, it was evident all around Paris for over 2 weeks, with the athletes at the venues, in the streets and the metros, among adults and children. And it was really a joy and a privilege to be there. But let's get back to the brilliant performances in Paris. Here are the 8 best performances by result score for both men and women recorded in Paris. So among the men, of course, the list is topped by the 6 meter 25 world record by Mondo Duplantis, 1,336 points. And not far behind is Rai Benjamin, repeating his 46-46 mark. 200 meters, Letsile Tebogo, his area record is worth 1,306 points, which was also amazing. Ryan Krauser, back from injuries, 22 meters 90 in the shot put. Quincy Hall, the 400 meter race was very, very good. Quincy Hall, 43.40 is worth 1,293 points. And Matthew Hudson Smith was not far behind, setting his 3rd world record in just a couple of months, improving it to 43.44. So congratulations. The 800 meters, as we saw, was also a fabulous race. 100th separating the winner Emmanuel Wagnoni and Canada's Marco Arop. Among the women, that 400 meter hurdles race was totally amazing, with, of course, Sydney's world record topping it all, 50.37, worth 1,322 points. Anna Cockrell was not very far behind. Her mark is worth 1,273. And in the semifinal, Sydney had already run in 52.15, and Femke could manage 52.15 in the final. But behind McLaughlin's world record, it was Marilady Paulino who achieved the highest, second highest scoring performance with 48.17 Olympic record, which is worth 1,280 points. Then we have the 1500 with Faith Kipyegon and Jessica Hall, always hanging on there. She's grown so much this year, and she's such a lovely athlete. So I was really happy to see her at a respectable distance from Faith, but still doing very, very well in the Olympic final. And the 8th mark among the women is the US relay, the mile relay, with Shamir Little, Sydney McLaughlin Levroni, Gabby Thomas, and Alexis Holmes. Excellent performance there too. But let's also look at athletes who achieved special performances in Paris. And we have already mentioned several of them, Nafi Thiam and Faith Kipyegon, both are earning their 3rd Olympic gold medal in their event. Ryan Krauser did the same among the men, but for him it's not a record because, of course, Al
Al
Oerter
Orter.
had 4 Olympic golds. Then, of course, we have to mention Beatrice Chebet, the only athlete to win double individual golds in the 5 and 10,000. Sifan Hassan with her fabulous performances, gold in the marathon and 2 bronzes in the 5 and 10,000. And then I don't usually count relay medals because some countries have much better chances than others. But I think Gabby Thomas was special because she, of course, won Olympic gold in the 200, but she also won gold with both the 4x100 and 4x400. So the fact that she was selected for both and she helped the team to gold, I think makes it really special.
Yeah, exactly. She's looking very much Alison Felix, running every single, every kind of relay events, 4x1, 4x2, 4x4. It's really
Exactly. And we'll see. Because, I mean, Alison Felix, wonderful athlete, but a lot of her medals come from relays. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if Gabby is going to get more individual golds, and that would, in my mind, make her more special than Alison. So as we saw above, a total of 13 Olympic records were set in Paris. Let's recap them all. So in event order, starting with the men, 1500 meter, Cole Hawker, 3:27.65 was an Olympic and area record. Joshua Cheptegei, now this is special because 10,000 meter races are not often fast at the Olympic Games and World Championships. So that Joshua ran in 26:43.14, I think is very special.
Yeah,
Also unbelievable.
he break Kenenisa Bekele's record, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
that's really
something.
important.
Right. And also amazing was the marathon because it was a really difficult course with uphill sections of almost 500 meters. So Tamirat Tola, 2:06.26. Congratulations. Really excellent performance. Of course, Mondo's world record is also an Olympic record. As we saw, the 2 throwers, Roger Stona of Jamaica and Arshad Nadim in the javelin, they also had Olympic records. And then, of course, the world record in the 4x400 meter men with Christopher Bailey, Vernon Norwood, Bryce Dedmond, and Rai Benjamin was also an Olympic record. Among the women, 400 meters, Marilady Paulino, 1500 meters, Faith Kipyegon. Again, the marathon, amazing performance. Over the steeplechase, Winfred Yavi, 8:52.76. In the 400 hurdles, of course, McLaughlin's Levroni's world record is also an Olympic record. And then in the mixed 4x4, the US in the heats with 3:07.41 was a world and an Olympic record. Now, there was also an amazing total of 21 area records. We usually honor each one with an individual screen, but given the number, we won't be able to do that this time. But we recapped all the area records set in Paris. So among the men, always in event order, Letsile Tebogo over 200, Matthew Hudson Smith, his third area record, as we said, over 400, Marco Arop over 800, Cole Hawker over 1500. Hamish Kerr equaled his own Oceania record in the high jump. Mondo Duplantis, of course. In the javelin, it was not only Arshad Nadim, but also in the qualifying, Brazil's Luis Mauricio da Silva also clocked an area record, which is great. It's good to see more countries coming into the final. The 4x100-meter relay saw two area records. The first for South Africa with their silver medal, and then Australia also achieved an area record. 4x400, there were three among the men. So Botswana in silver with 2:54.54, set an Africa record. Great Britain 2:55.83, a European record. And Japan with 2:58.33, also set an area record. Among the women, Marilady Paulino, of course, in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. And I was really happy with that because she's an athlete I like a lot and who's been growing steadily over the past 2-3 years. Alice Pinot came just off the podium with 8:58.67. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, of course. The US 4x women's 4x400 relay was also an area record. Then two other area records in the heptathlon by Colombia's Marta Araujo, and in the 20 kilometers race walk by Australian medalist Jemima Montag. And in the 4x400 mixed relay, as we saw, of course, the US had set a world record in the heats, and then the Netherlands set an area record in the final. Now, of course, a review of the games is not complete without looking at the medal table. So here we are, the US dominated, we have to say, 14 golds and 34 medals in total. Kenya, with 4 golds and 11 medals in total, was not far behind. Canada, great, 3 golds and 5 medals. Of course, we've spoken about Andre de Grasse. We've also spoken about the relay, but
Ethan Kotzberg, maybe we can mention.
Katzberg has been dominating the hammer throw this year. So, and
Cameron
he was
Rogers,
one of the favorites who didn't, feel too much pressure and who wasn't let down by the results. Now, Netherlands, 2 gold medals. That was, and 6 in total. That was also special. Spain and Norway also with 2 medals. Then Great Britain, Jamaica, Ethiopia, and Australia among the countries with 1 gold. And Britain, of course, had a lot of other very good minor placings on the podium with a total of 10 medals. So as we saw, 27 countries won gold and 43 countries won at least 1 medal. And the placing table always gives a better insight into the overall strength of each country. And here things change, because while the top 2 teams are the same, United States and Kenya, then Great Britain, of course, who was 7th in the medal table, climbs to number 3 in the placing table, because they had a lot of good placings, as we saw, not only on the podium, but also just off the podium. So congratulations to Britain for a very, very solid Olympic Games. Ethiopia also moves up from 9 in the medal table to 4 in the placing table. Again, thanks to a lot of placing in 4th, 5th, 7th place. So that improves their overall result. Jamaica also moves up from number 8 in the medal table to number 5 in the placing table, again with spots just off the podium, 3 4th places, 3 6th places, 3. So a lot of medals there. Netherlands, on the other hand, with their 2 Olympic golds, was 4th on the medal table, but they moved down to equal 6th. because, well, they didn't have such great performances off the podium. And Italy here is the major one to benefit, let's say, because they were only 29th in the medal table without any golds, but they had so many placings, 5 fourth places. Now, Italy overall in the Olympics, they had 25 fourth places, which is really crazy, just off the podium. So Italy moved to equal sixth with the Netherlands. And Canada also moves down from third on the medal table to eighth in the placing table, because again, gold medals, but not a lot of placings in the top 8. Germany moves up slightly. They were not in the top 10 in the medal table. They were 11th, and they moved to 9th. And Australia maintains their 10th place, both in medal and placing table. Now, it's interesting that 2 countries are out who were in the top 10 in the medal table are out of the placing table, Spain and Norway, who both had 2 goals. So, Şevket, what do you think about the medal and placing tables in Paris?
Yeah, in the medal table, United States has most successful Olympics since Los Angeles, one-side Olympics.
Yeah.
That's really a bright result for the American team. Even lost some key events, such as 100 meters women. But other, except United States, more or less evenly contest we passed. Kenya, one of the successful countries in the competition, as we saw in the medal table. But Ethiopia, especially Ethiopia, is looking unsuccessful. They have only 1 gold. It was quite surprise for me.
Yeah.
And also maybe Jamaica doing some arrangement in their sprinting team in the future. Other results, I'm checking the countries. It's looking normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
also another note, maybe we can say about your country, Italy. The previous one, the Italy has 5 gold medals. Now you didn't have, but still some great result for Italian athletics is a whole team and the young prospects such as Nadia and Mattia.
Exactly. So, of course, we couldn't repeat the 5 goals from Tokyo. That was just crazy. With Gianmarco had been very good at the European Championships, but then he had a series of small injuries, and then this renal colic, which really destroyed him. So we couldn't expect anything from him. Marcel Jacobs came back not bad.
He was really good. I like it so much. He was
Exactly.
really good in the final.
Exactly. So I was happy for him. I think the big disappointment for Italy was Leo Fabri, because he had had such a strong season. He had more top marks than anyone else. And then on the both in qualifying and in the final, he just wasn't up to it, which was for me a shame. But he's still young. He'll have more time. And Lorenzo Simonelli was also a bit of a disappointment, because from 13:05 in Rome to a very bad performance in the heats, that was not the best. But on the whole, a solid performance by the Italian team, which shows that they are still there. So I like that. So it's time now to go back to the global overview of our sport and check all the best results of the past week. And of course, they all come from Olympic Games. And of course, we only count the second week. So we won't speak about 100 meters or 10,000 meters men. But in events like the 400, which were in between, which started before our last show and ended at the end, will include them. So we start with the men, of course, with the 200 meters. Letsile Tebogo, 1946, fabulous performance. Kenny Bednarek was very good as well, 19.62. Noah Lyles, in his conditions with COVID, was really amazing. Letsile had also had a very good mark, 1996, in the semifinals. 400 meters, we already saw that that was one of the very best races in Paris, with Quincy Hall and Matthew Hudson Smith, but also Muzala Samukonga of Zambia in third with a very good performance. Jareem Richards was also good, fourth in the final, and Kirani James with 43.87 after he had run 43.78 in the semi-final. Emmanuel Wagnoni, again, fantastic race, which we've already commented, with such a close finish between Emmanuel Wagnoni and Marco Arop. Jamel Sejati was also very good, not maybe as sharp as we could have expected after his races in Paris Diamond League and Monaco, but still very good. And Bryce Hoppel of the US won 41.67, as we saw in an amazing final with Mohamed Atawi just above 142 with 142.08. Gabriel Toile, who had also done very well on the Diamond League, was also just a little bit below his best with 142.14, but still very good. And Tseshipo Masalela of Botswana won 42.82. Now, in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, I must admit I was surprised by Soufiane El Bakali because he's been struggling with injuries. He's been very quiet this year, but he's an athlete who is always there when it mattered. So he took Olympic gold, not a very, very fast time, 8:06.05, but the important thing for him was to win. And as we said, 8:06.41 for Kenneth Rooks of the US in second place, and Kenya's Abraham Kibiwot with 8:06.47. 110 hurdles. Grant Holloway finally got his Olympic medal. That was the thing he was missing. He went twice under 13 flat, 12.98 in the semi and 12.99 in the final. Orlando Bennett ran very well in the semi, 13:09. Daniel Roberts in the final, 13:09. Rashid Broadbell also 13:09. And Daniel Roberts, who has been extremely consistent this year, 13:10 in the semis. 400 hurdles, we saw Rai Benjamin equals his own fifth mark in the all-time list. Karsten was good, but not as good as we had seen him this year with 47.06. And Allison, I must admit, I was a bit surprised that he actually made the podium, because while he'd been very, very strong at the start of the year, then he'd had a bit of a low, but he must have been making sure that he had everything in the right place for the Olympic Games, and he definitely did, coming third in 47.26. Karsten had run 47.67 in the semifinal, and Clément Duclos, we spoke about him, 47.76 in the final. Kyron McMaster, 47.79. Clément Duclos had already clocked 47.85 in the semi, and Rai Benjamin also very fast in his semi with 47.85. Alison Dos Santos, third in semi-final one with 47.95. And Abderrahman Samba still there, 47.98. Now, high jump men is not terribly exciting these days, but still Hamish Kerr and Shelby McEwen, Hamish of New Zealand and McEwen of the US, cleared 3:36. In the triple jump, as you mentioned, Şevket, no Cuban officially on the podium, but all three are former Cubans. It was again won by Jordan Alejandro Diaz Fortun, like at the European Championships in Rome, defeating Pedro Pichardo by just 2 centimeters, 1786 to 1784, and Italy's Andy Diaz Hernandez with 17.64. Jaden Hibbert, 17.61. Let's not forget he's still an under 20 athlete. So still a very good mark for him. Discus throw, we mentioned Roger Stona, 70 meters, 3 centimeters longer than world record holder Nicolas Alekna, who had really been the dominant athlete this year. Matthew Kenny in third with 69.31. In the javelin, Arshad Nadim moves to number 6 in the all-time list with his throw of 92.97. Neeraj Chopra, 89.45, still a very good mark for the previous Olympic champion. And Anderson Peters back on the podium with 88.54. Just 4 centimeters longer than Jakub Blech of the Czech Republic. Now, 400 meters, there were many excellent performances. We saw the United States 47-47 with Christian Coleman, Fred Curley, Kyrie King, and Courtney Lindsay. Canada in the final, 47.50 with Aaron Brown, Jerome Blake, Brendan Rodney, and Andre de Grasse. South Africa with Bayanda Walaza, Sean Maswangani, Bradley Nkoana, and Akani Simbine. And Italy just off the podium, 37.68 with Matteo Meluzzo, Marcel Jacobs, Lorenzo Pata, and Filippo Tortu, who this year was not as did not have as strong a finish as he had in Tokyo, where he really was amazing. Japan also very good, 37.78, and France 37.81, all with marks above 1,240 points. And South Africa in the heats had already run in 38.03. 400 mile relay, as we saw, United States taking the win in 2:54.43. Botswana with a great second place, 2:54.53. Great Britain, 2:55.83. Belgium with Jonathan Sakour, Dylan Borlée, Kevin Borlée, and Florent Mabille. The Borlée brothers are still a big part of the relay. Botswana already in the heats had run 2:57.76. And South Africa just under our cutoff of 1,230 points with 1,227. So top men's performance of the year remains the world record in the pole vault by Mondo from last week, which, as we saw, is worth 1,336 points. Now, among the women, lists were also shaken up in Paris. 400 meters, Marilady Paulino, that's worth 1,280 points. Salwa Aid Nasser, 48.53 is worth 1,265. Natalia Kaczmarek continues her great year with third place, Salwa Eid Nasser, already in the semis, had run a great time of 49.08. Marilady Paulino also in the semis. Then back to the final, Rasidat Adeleke and Amber Anning also had very good performances, 49.28 and 49.29. And Marilady Paulino was already really strong from the heats, where she ran 49.42. Natalia Kaczmarek in the semis, 49.45, and Amber Anning also in the semis, 49.47. 1500 meters, as we saw, Faith Kipyegon, her Olympic record is worth 1,277 points. Jessica Hull, very good with 3:52.56. Now, Georgia Bell, she was she's been, I think, the whole year the most consistent of the British milers, and she was third in 3:52.61, pushing Ethiopia's Deribe Welteji off the podium. Laura Muir, still a good performance, 3:53.37. Diribe Welteji in the semis, 1:55.10. Jessica Hull behind her in the semis. Then back to the final, Susan Locayo Ejore, good mark of 3:56.07. Now, Nikki Hills had been quite good in the semis with 1:56.17, a little below par maybe in the final with 1:56.38. Gudaf Segai, as we saw, big disappointment. Her best was in the semis with 3:56.41. And there were also very good marks for Susan Ejore in the semi and Agathe Guillemot also in the semi. Now, Elle St. Pierre, maybe not as good as we could have expected, 3:57.52 in the final. 100 hurdles, Masai Russell had the best time this year, and she took gold in the final with 12.35. Alicia Johnson, 12.34 in the semi, and Sirena Samba Mayela with 12.34, back with an excellent medal. Now, she's grown a lot. She used to be more of a 60-meter hurdles athlete, but she showed this year at the Europeans in Rome and now at the Olympics that she's really very strong now on the 100 hurdles. Reigning Olympic champion Jasmine Camacho Quinn, still very good with 12.35 in the semi and with 12.36 in the final, which got her bronze. And finally, Grace Stark, 12.39. Jasmine had also been very good in the heats with 12.42, and Masai Russell, very good in the semi. Nadine Fisser, good marks of 12.43 in the semi-final, which she then repeated in the final. So really very good performances. Again, Grace Stark and Akera Nugent, whose maybe was a little bit below expectations. 400 hurdles, we saw, of course, the amazing performance by Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, Anna Cockrell, Sydney in the semis, and Femke in the final. Jasmine Jones, 52.29 in the final, also very good. Femke in the semi. Russell Clayton, 52.68. Anna Cockrell and Russell Clayton had also been very good in the semis, as had Xian Salmon. So very good performances in that race. Among the women in the pole vault, the really good performance came from Nina Kennedy, who cleared 4 meters 90, while Katie Moon and Alicia Newman could only clear 4.85. The long jump this year, the only athlete to regularly go over 7 meters is Tara Davis Woodhall, and she took Olympic gold with 7 meters 10. Of course, Malaika Mihambo had jumped 7:22 in Rome at the Europeans, but Tara has been definitely the most consistent one. Heptathlon, we saw gold for Nafitiam with 1,249 points, which is really, really good result score in the heptathlon. Katarina Johnson Thompson was not far behind, only 36 points behind, and bronze went to Noor Vids of Belgium. Annick Kalin and Anna Hall were also good, though Anna must have been disappointed. She couldn't quite make it back from her surgery in January. In the 4x100 relay, United States, now the best time in the world remains the 41:55, which Britain had clocked at the London Diamond League. But the United States took gold with 41:78 in Paris. Melissa Jefferson, Twanisha Terry, Gabby Thomas, and Sha'Carri Richardson, who was delighted to get her Olympic gold. Second, Great Britain, 41:85, also a good mark. And then the US in the heats, and Germany, third on the podium. Now, we'll talk about Germany again. The quartet was Alexandra Borghardt, Lisa Meyer, Gina Lünkenkemper, and Rebecca Hase. 4x400, US relay triumphed in 3:15:27, and Netherlands not too far behind, or rather far behind, but with a great silver medal. Great Britain in third, and Ireland just off the podium. So the best women's performance of 2024 is now the 400-meter hurdles world record by Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, worth 1,322, passing, as Şevket said, the high jump world record by Jaroslava Maguchik. So before we close this overview, I'd like to highlight the bronze medal by the German women's sprint relay. That was one of only 4 medals won by the former sports superpower, which is especially important for Alexandra Borghardt, who thus joins only 6 other athletes who have won medals at both the Summer and the Winter Games. In Beijing 22, Borghardt had won a silver medal in the 2 women bob as a break woman with Mariama Jamanka, a former discus and hammer thrower from Berlin, who, however, obtained much better results in her new sport with Olympic golds in 2018, silver in 2022, and 2 World Championship golds in 2017 and 2019. So we've looked in detail at athletics performances, but the beauty of the Olympic Games is that there are so many other amazing sports, which gives us the chance to admire or discover the achievements of so many spectacular athletes. So let's look now at best of the Olympic Games, not in athletics. So Şevket, what were your 3 favorite non-athletics moments from the Paris Olympics? I know you were covering other sports as well.
Sure. I attended 14 different sports during 17 days of competition. Really cool lifetime experience. I liked it so much. In handball, one of my top picks, my favorite team sport, Norway women's team secured their 3rd Olympic gold in last 5 Olympics. Previously, they won in Beijing and London. It was I was in their opener, actually. They lost to Sweden. 32-28 they lost. I was there. But just 3 days later, they back to business, trashing another Scandinavian great, Denmark, by 9 goals. They won. Then went to the final, Norwegian team. And in the final, beat defending Olympic champion France in Lille In the final, Norway beat them 29-21, one most lopsided gold medal ever in the
Wow.
Olympics history. Yeah, but especially I mentioned to their amazing goalkeeper, the 44-year-old legendary goalkeeper Katrina Lunde, who saves 42% shot in during the games and became MVP of the tournament. As a goalie, she was an MVP. It was a crazy moment for Norwegian handball. Katrina Lunde also in the team in the recent editions. I think she got 5 Olympic medals right now. And the men's side, Nicolas Karabatis, France exits early, and yet another legend, Michael Hansen, calls his career with an Olympic gold in Denmark. It was also sensational. That's my handball summary for you. In rowing, one of my other favorite sports, Romanian female eight is back to the top after 20 years. I picked that moment in my list. I watched the women's eight final live in Vers-sur-Marne, close to Paris, at a suburb. They beat defending champion Canada by one boat distance in the women's eight final. Elisabetta Lipa, a 5-time Olympic champion, was there to cheer in them also. We saw her in the podium ceremony. The Romanian ladies get their medals from Elisabetta. Romania has been 3-time champion with Elisabetta Lipa's time in early 2000s at this event, women's 8. But recently they lost some shock finals in the women's 8, both Olympics and the World Championships. But now they turn in the age again, the Romanian age, with the spectacular win in the women's 8 competition. In my third choice, from archery, yet another my favorite sport. I was an invalid for the finals. Kim Woo-jin from Korea, one of the best archers of all time in the sports history. Before the games, he has 2 Olympic gold, but never win in the individual one. Here in Paris, he was started with 3rd consecutive team gold in the men's team event, beating France in final. Turkey got the bronze medal in that competition. I was there. Then claimed easy mixed gold because 2 best Koreans matched up with together. And finally, he beat reigning champion Mete Gazoz from Turkey in the quarterfinal. Then former number 1 Brady Ellison of United States in final, and he got the eluded individual title at last, the Kim Woo-jin. Now, in total, Woo-jin became most successful ever in archery history in the Olympics with 5 gold medals. He has also 9 World Championship golds and 4 World Cup finals in his career. That's a really interesting moment for me to watching him and talking him with the press conference.
Fantastic. And I'm impressed that you covered 14 sports. You managed to attend so many. So that must have been a crazy fortnight for you in Paris.
Yeah, I've been in a rush every moment, every day.
Wow. So thank you, Şevket. So I was not accredited in Paris, so I saw all events on TV, but here are my non-athletics Paris highlights. The first has to be Cuba's wrestler, Mijain Lopez, who in Paris earned an unprecedented 5th individual consecutive gold medal, a feat which had never been achieved before in any sport. The first 2 were in the under 120 kilo category, and the last 3 in 130 kilo. So that's really amazing because many athletes have more, but they have team medals as well. And Mijain 5 consecutive individual goals. Truly amazing. And I must have to admit that I only learned about Lopez last April, but must now agree with those who consider him the best ever Olympian. Cuba's Javier Sotomayor, still the world record holder in the high jump, chose Mijain's gold as his favorite moment in the Paris Olympics.
Javier, ¿qué te ha parecido los Juegos de París aquí y cuál es tu momento favorito de estos Juegos?
Han habido grandes momentos en muchos deportes. En el nuestro, por ejemplo, se han batido varios récords olímpicos y del mundo. Pero mi momento favorito como cubano ha sido la medalla, la 5ª medalla de oro ganada por Mijail López de lucha. Por lo menos la más que he disfrutado.
Fantástico este señor, realmente.
Un superestrella, un superdotado y un superatleta.
Gracias.
That was incredible. Really, Mijail Lopez was something special. My second has to be Novak Djokovic, finally winning his Olympic gold medal on his 5th try. Now, Djokovic, of course, is a winner of 24 Grand Slams, tied with Margaret Court, 99 tournaments in all. He was the year-end #1 for a record 8 times, tied with Steffi Graf. But Novak had not yet captured Olympic glory. And it's fantastic that he did it this year at 37 in a season where he had suffered injuries and defeats. And I think his tears of joy were really special. And in choosing Novak, I also pay homage to other mega stars of professional sport, especially U.S. trio, basketball, LeBron James, who earned his 3rd gold, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant, who earned his 4th gold, because they fought so hard for Olympic glory. In particularly Stephen Curry, who was making his Olympic debut and who was decisive in both the semifinal with Serbia, which was a very, very tight affair, and he made sure the U.S. won the final with France scoring 4 3-pointers in the last 2.47 minutes after France had come within 3 points of the U.S. team. So really, even for mega stars of other sports, the Olympics are special. Now, my third is Filipino gymnast Carlos Yulo, who won gold in the men's floor exercise and the vault. But the reason I include him here is not for his historic achievements, but for the enthusiasm generated in his country by those medals. Donors lined up to shower him with gifts worth a total of over $1 million, including a resort house, free buffets for life, and lots of other presents. So this really shows nothing equals Olympic gold. And another highlight for me was meeting volleyball player Wilfredo Leon, widely considered to be among the very best players of all time. Now, I never take photos with athletes. In all my decades of working with sport, I have only 4 or 5 photos, and they're all with retired athletes. But volleyball is one of my favorite sports, and Leon, a player I really admire. So I couldn't resist the chance to take a selfie and have a chat with him. And my final highlight is the little town of Roncadelle near Brescia in northern Italy. So we had spoken about small countries winning Olympic medals. Well, Roncadelle beats them all. 9,500 inhabitants, 3 Olympic golds. Giovanni De Gennaro in canoeing, K1 slalom, opened the series on August 1st, closely followed 20 minutes later by judoka Alice Bellandi in the 78 kilos category. And 10 days later, Anna Danesi, captain of the Italian volleyball team, added a 3rd gold. Now, a purist may say Belandi doesn't really count because though her father is from Roncadelle, she herself doesn't live there, but the town's inhabitants are proud of all three. And finally, I must admit that I rediscovered Paris. I don't count it as my favorite city, but there are little treasures in every arrondissement. And taking the time one day for a stroll along the Seine and the grounds of the Louvre was amazing. The Paris Olympic Committee deserves credit for showcasing its monuments in the best possible way, with beach volley and several other competitions, including, of course, race walk around the Eiffel Tower, fencing and taekwondo in the Grand Palais, the marathons going through the Louvre, equestrian at the Château de Versailles, cycling in Montmartre. So stunning venues. Merci Paris. So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. On 22 August, the Diamond League circuit starts again with the Atletissima meeting in Lausanne, closely followed by the Kamila Skolimovska Memorial in Chorzów. And on the 30th, the Golden Gala in Rome. So 3 Diamond League meetings in just over a week. On 31st August and 1st September, Wiesław Czapewski Memorial in Poland. That's a World Combined Events Tour Gold meeting. 1st of September, also ISTAF Berlin. On the 3rd of September, Palio della Quercia. Both are World Athletics Continental Tour silver meets. On the 5th, Weltklasse Zürich, back to the Diamond League. On the 8th, the last World Athletics Continental Tour Gold meeting in Zagreb. On the 9th, Gala dei Castelli in Bellinzona. And, of course, the Diamond League finals in Brussels, the Memorial Van Damme, on 13 and 14 September. And on 14 and 15 September, the Decastar in Talence, the last combined events tour meet of the season. So, Şevket, ready to roll again on the Diamond League?
Yeah, exactly. We are closing the amazing season in Diamond League and focus on next season, of course.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled. And apart from Silesia, I'll be traveling to the other 4. So it'll be great to be able to speak to the athletes, to watch some interesting revenges maybe from Paris, and to have again the chance to speak to the athletes.
Yeah.
So we're now at the end of our program. It was great having Şevket with us on the show.
You're welcome, Anna. Pleasure to talk our deeply loving passion, athletics, as always. Love athletics, live with athletics also. Ciao for everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you, Şevket. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
And see you soon on Love Athletics after the Lausanne and Silesia meets to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the past 10 days. Ciao, everyone. Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you, Şevket.